With just weeks to the 7th Democratic presidential debate, which is happening in Iowa, we're learning Andrew Yang has requested the DNC conduct more polling.
The request, of course, was denied. So the Andrew Yang and his supporters are calling this hashtag poll the people. And the main gripe that they have is that between now and January, the DNC should commission some early state qualifying polls because they haven't had one, and I think it's some 40 days. The DNC is denying Andrew Yang's request for these 4 qualifying polls before January 10th for an accurate snapshot. They say it's not going to be sponsoring its own debate qualifying polls. I mean, Ryan, I think you might agree that the DNC might not be having to conduct polls, but I think Andrew Yang has a good point, which is, I mean, a lot has changed. The man has invested millions of dollars in the state of New Hampshire and in some of these early states, and he very much could qualify if the DNC were to allow polling like this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're right to highlight the problem. And so the debate is January 14th.
Yeah.
The campaigns have invested tons of resources, particularly in the first 4 states, and those are the states where you need to have these qualifying polls. And if you don't do polls, like if there aren't polls that are conducted, then
there's nothing to qualify, right?
It's difficult. You're not going to catch somebody if they happen to be surging, and you are therefore putting your thumb on the scale. I think they're right to highlight that issue. Their solution of having the DNC conduct the polls could be problematic. Do we really want to go think about where that leads in the future?
Right.
Like from now on, we're going to have the DNC conducting polls. I mean, obviously they wouldn't conduct it. They would hire pollsters, but we know what pollsters they work with. They're going to work with the consultants that are approved by the DNC.
That's right.
And those consultants know what kind of results particular party officials you want. Why open up the paranoia that could breed? I think it's better to have the media doing it, but he's right, it's a problem. And I think the bigger problem is the DNC in general.
And the entire qualification process. Right?
And Tulsi made this point, I thought, accurately, even if her stunt to threaten to not show up at the debate was a little silly. I think her point was dead on, that the DNC and the media now are collectively doing the winnowing that used to be done by Democratic Party voters, and I don't think that's the place that we want to be.
It's not fair to Andrew Yang. I mean, the man, millions of dollars. I mean, we were told he's having 5 New Year's Eve parties in the state of New Hampshire. He's been all over the state. He's raised, I think they expect to raise $12.5 million. I think and actually Zed Jelani, a friend of the show, he pointed out that Yang had better rated debate performances than Amy Klobuchar and some other candidate who was up there. I think it was Tom Steyer on the stage. So if that's the case, then shouldn't he be up there on that stage? I mean, this is, and what you're getting at is this is subverting the Democrat actual primary process, and it's not fair, especially in a case where, look, Andrew Yang could be at like 9% in New Hampshire right now. It really, that is the type of state where he really could be right up there with Tulsi Gabbard, and yet we have no idea.
This time in 1975, December 1975, Jimmy Carter was at like 1% in Iowa.
Yeah.
DNC would have kept Jimmy Carter off the stage. You keep him off the stage, he never makes it. Now, actually, I think that would have been good. He was not a good president.
He was a bad president.
Great ex-president. Not a great president. But that's not the point. Like you don't want the DNC making those decisions. Now, Yang has framed it in the language of identity politics, which I think he's doing because he knows his audience. That's the language that they understand, the DNC and the media. But the real argument for diversity, for having him on the stage, to me, is the ideas that he brings are completely different. I think some of them are wrong. I think some of them are extremely useful to the debate. But it's great to actually be talking about things in a different way, to be thinking about the future and thinking through ways to approach it. Rather than what the typical debate is, which is just trying to score some points.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, my favorite moment that has happened so far was Yang versus Warren on automation and trade. Now, I don't agree with Andrew Yang. I don't think it was automation. I'm more on the Warren side. But we got to have a national debate about that. And Joe Biden, by the way, who is responsible for both automation and the trade part, had to sit there, and maybe he had to jump in there. Same with UBI and a federal jobs guarantee. These are all about the opioid crisis. I mean, my God, this is the only guy who goes up there and talks about life expectancy. I cannot tell you how an important subject that is. I believe it is the chief metric for like how society is doing. Like, are people living and dying longer? And he points these things out, and I think his ability to kind of cut through so much of the theatrical nature of this and speak directly is really important. And if the process is designed to keep him out and is beneficial to a Tom Steyer, that's wrong, right?
And there's been this constant ratcheting up of the qualifications needed to get onto the debate stage, and that the assumption that that's necessary has just been taken for granted, but it hasn't actually been interrogated. There's no reason that you need to ratchet these up. You could have kept the baseline qualifications, and you'd still have people like Harris dropping out of the race because their races aren't still going. If you're still going today, if you're still campaigning, if you're Cory Booker even, who cares at this point? Just let everybody that's still in it into the debate, except Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah, except Bloomberg. Actually, I want to see him up there.
Yeah,
so does
whatever,
Crystal.
whatever.
Crystal,
Let
because,
him on the
I mean,
stage.
don't you think he'd be a great foil for Bernie and Warren? I mean, just imagine him up there.
I think he would. Yeah. Put him on.
Let him go up there and defend his stupid open office plan. But that's that's another story for another day. So next on Rising, a Senate impeachment trial. It seems unlikely with House Democrats refusing to send the articles unless Senate Majority Mitch McConnell guarantees a fair trial.
Aaron Mate shares his predictions and where he thinks impeachment will go from here. Next.